While I'm on this train of thought with what I've kind of been doing and experiencing in the last 2 days, I'd say, like it's been 2 main days that I kind of feel like a few breakthroughs have been made for my personal life, and through that I feel like I've been given, which is not from me, it's from God, I've been endowed with this understanding because I've tried to understand myself, which led me to understand Islam. So let me explain something that I think is really important, because I like to put together information. That's something I love to do, and that's why I love psychology and studied it and always analyze. Like, I like to analyze things, which is why I think Allah always says you need to, do they not ponder and do they not reflect? So a few things that I haven't said yesterday, and an extension on what Surah Yunus, which relates to the personal experience. Like, I just related to that in this moment, and then maybe in the future there'll be other Quranic verses and things that will relate back to my life. But for now, that was the one that I felt like I could understand based on what I'd been through. Islam, what it is something that has been thrown out there as a religious thing, which it's not, in my opinion. And I know that some people would get upset with it, but it's only based on your understanding of what you think I mean when I say religion. So Islam, as we can all agree, is the way of life. And the reason it's the way of life is because it's the truth. So it's directly interlinked with the functionality of everything, the way that our souls work, the way that the universe works, which is why if you look at the Quran, it's a miracle, and it wasn't always a physical book. It's just, it was relayed phonetically, and that's how it was preserved, because when they tried to burn them all, you could grab the people from surrounding regions, they'd come together, and the Arabic has remained the same. Now, just because it's in a physical form doesn't mean that it's just a physical form thing. The truth, when someone speaks it, can be relayed back to the Quran, because the Quran is all-encompassing of everything. Like, it teaches every single lesson about the psyche, about the formation of the universe. It holds the gems and the secrets. And Allah says, like, you can't even produce as a human anything like it. And within it are signs. It is self-validating. It doesn't need any human to prove it. And it also brings us back down to realizing that anyone speaking about it, or anyone that's a believer, because it comes down to what Allah talks about is the believers. And the believers are not categorized by those who say, I believe. It's categorized by an approach, a way of thinking, application, understanding, and desire, and want, and intention. So energy and frequency, as Allah says, the nur can be seen on people's faces. You will feel who is a believer when you are one, because you can meet people only as deeply as you've met yourself. So it operates more on a frequency level, and it should be more on a frequency level rather than just what people say they are, which is why it doesn't ostracize anyone else, because people, they go, oh, they're an atheist, they're this, they're that. That's just your understanding of it, because they haven't verbally said something that would relate back to your understanding of what you think being a Muslim, which means submitted to truth, is, because the true word is actually mu'mineen. We are mu'mineen, and this is who Allah addresses and who Allah speaks to. Now, for me, the best thing that I've learned about getting close to God and getting close to Islam is that you go through that journey where you're adopting all the things that you're told is Islamic, and you're relying on people to teach you Islam. And that's not what I'm trying to do at all. As a believer, I identify as a believer because I believe in God, and I've taken that in my life as the truth. Whether I do it perfectly or not, it's irrelevant to what my heart actually knows. And everyone's heart actually knows this as well. So I've made a commitment to try as best as I can to get close to God, because I've realized that when you don't, things fall apart, like things go wrong. Or in essence, when things do go wrong, it has been the only solution. Like, it has been the only way out of it has been Islam. And the reason I know that is because I didn't try to fit the Quran into that truth. I found the truth in the Quran when I lived life and saw the truth in life, because it's constantly all embodying. Allah says He's like closer to us than our jugular vein, which is like nearer than near. It's like part of, it's like it's in there, it's everything. It's it's literally all encompassing. That's why there's all these things about qadr, which is like, you can relate that back to quantum physics as well, where things happen on one side and then there's a reason why those things look like they're bad happening on the other. And that's that story of the prophet that went on that journey and shouldn't have asked any questions, but ended up asking questions because it's just human condition. So Allah has given us this book to help aid us, and he said it wasn't given to us to distress us, it was given to us as a mercy and a guidance, which is the reason why it's there, because if we didn't have it, we would not have anything grounding to help us understand, because the words are from Allah. This is Allah's language. It's universal language, actually, even though it's in Arabic. The meaning of the Arabic and what it's actually saying conceptually, if people can look into it. That's why when people like me who don't know Arabic read it in English, it's not about the language in itself. It's about how those words, what they're inspiring me to think. Because Allah said he will do that from within ourselves. So the interesting thing about it is to learn Islam is to discuss it. It's not to teach it, it's to discuss it amongst believers. And that's what Allah said, to discuss it amongst believers and to leave the ones that don't believe behind, because they're not going to add any value to something that you are trying to seek truth in. If they're resisting and denying it, they're just going to come from a place of projecting their beliefs which don't align with yours, which means you can't grow your belief with them. And it doesn't make people evil or bad, it's just where they're at. But it might be bad for you because you need to be on a certain trajectory if you want to get yourself to Jannah, if that makes sense. So I highly encourage, from my personal experience and why I got to this point, is like, for people, if you are a believer and you want to get close to God, you need to get as close to yourself as possible. Your heart is where du'as are made. Whatever your state, frequency and state is what's going to be reflected in the world around you, and the world around you is signifying where you are at. It's like the mercy of it. So whatever's going on is going to teach you where you are at with your Islam, and you can't blame Allah for punishing you, and you can't blame people for getting you there. You just have to take full responsibility. And that's what Yunus teaches us. It's that you have to take full responsibility, and you meet God in that darkness of realizing that it's your responsibility. That's where you see your responsibility. When you meet your shadow, you do that shadow work, you meet the bad parts in yourself that you don't want to admit because you might think that it makes you a bad person, but it doesn't. It's actually finally meeting who you are as a human being. It's actually crazy to realize how vulnerable you are to becoming bad, because you can be, and until you address those things in yourself, you cannot overcome them.